Barbershop conversation, guys. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Hit the link. Follow me on Instagram. So I was at the Meek Mill's concert Saturday, and Meek Mill, at the end of his set, talked about you're a fool if you allow some man to con you out of your freedom. And he's talking about black on black crime as it relates to our community, what's going on. Obviously, the two big stories that's going on this week, uh, XXX and Junior. And obviously it hit home for me. You guys know I'm from New York. And I was actually raised on St. Andrews Avenue, but home base in terms of like the matriarch of my family was in Harlem on 147th and Lenox. That's where my grandfather stayed. So, you know what I mean? So I stayed on St. Andrews Avenue, and the Grand Concourse is actually where I grew up. 7718 St. Andrews Avenue. I believe that's what my address was. And apartment 5C, I believe. And it's just incredulous that we not only value our lives and allow it to reach its full potential, but we value our other brothers' lives too. And I know we get caught up in this rat race in terms of, I got to be better than him. This man betrayed me. He's from a different gang. He's selling drugs on my block. He slept with my girl. He hit my girl. He hit my son. He hit my wife. And I know those are extreme circumstances. I completely get it. I completely, fully understand that. And I would understand the reaction. Without a doubt, I understand the reaction. You know, I'm talking about the latter half. Hitting your wife, hitting your kids. I completely understand. But no but at the end of that. But when we think about the bigger picture, we're making life-changing decision off of temporary problems. And I think it's time that we change the narrative. Let's start bragging about helping each other. Let's start bragging about being pillars in our community. Let that be the new cool, because I know I do it as well, and many other people do it on Instagram sometimes. We brag about our worldly possessions, and but I think it's even more cool, more sexy when we brag about helping our brothers. Let's make that a competitive nature, as opposed to saying, "Oh, this guy just bought some Gucci shoes. This guy bought Gucci shoes. I got to buy my Gucci shoes." Um, and we got to change our mental paradigm. And I know it's hard because of how we've been set up in this society in America. I understand. I get it. You guys know I worked on the Rick Ross movie, so I completely understand the crack epidemic. I understand how drugs and guns were placed in our community for us to destroy one another, and then they created the three-strike rule to keep us imprisoned, and they changed the crack laws. You understand? So um, it will have adverse circumstances in our community. I understand all of that. I'm not saying this without fully grasping that concept, right? In addition to all of this, I think it's essential from New York to Los Angeles. You understand? From as far south as Texas to as far north as Seattle, Washington. Like, I think it's important. I think it's quintessential important that we begin to brag different. We begin to act different, think different. And I need to do more videos on this subject just because it's the right thing to do, right? Sometimes I get caught up in boxing and other things. I don't come back to these videos. And so, and just a disclaimer, so some of you guys know the reason why I haven't been talking on a lot of these subjects, because YouTube has just been so aggressive with me. Like on the back end, they demonetize, and I don't know if I'm gonna get a strike and what have you. So I've been trying to put like the medicine in the boxing videos. I'm not sure if you guys has caught on to that. So I've talked about a lot of things, but the title is a boxing title. You understand what I'm saying? So uh, I think it's very important, you know what I mean, that we become boisterous about being successful black men in our community at the parks, whether we're teaching a kid playing basketball, whether we buy a kid a basketball, whether we, just walk by a kid at the corner store. Us as men, 95% of my audience is men. So we're just going to stay there. It's important that we hold each other accountable. It's essential that we hold each other accountable and be the example of why we're holding that person accountable. And I just want us all to win and find a place where we all can be successful in this thing called life. And I know it's hard. I understand all of this. And I know we all make wrong decisions. I've made plenty of wrong decisions. You understand what I'm saying? So I get all of that. And I might be talking to a certain sector of my audience about responding. And if I can just reach one of you guys, I'm not saying turn the other cheek. Punch the nigga. Stomp the nigga out. But killing a motherfucker for what I heard was a Louis Vuitton, a Louis Vuitton, a Louis Vuitton backpack or something, and $10,000. It's not worth it, man. It's not worth your freedom. I understand that those kids did it, but they look like kids, and they deserve a punishment. And it's up to the judicial system to, if those are the 5 kids, they deserve a punishment. I don't know what that punishment is, and that's for the jurors and the judge to decide. And we know it's a public trial, so it's going to be extreme. They may get 25 years to life. And one might argue that it's preventing other crimes from happening because of their mentality now as young kids, and it can only get worse. Or it can be maybe they deserve a second chance. I don't know. Let the mom decide on that. You understand what I'm saying? But the pain she's going through, a 15-year-old kid who she projected to take care of her, who she projected quite possibly to go to college, go to the military, be a successful legacy. How about if that's the only son they had and they're not carrying the last name? I don't know the family. I just refuse. Honestly, guys, I refuse to watch the video because I don't want to become desensitized to that stuff. You understand? The only piece of that video that I saw was when he jumped over the thing in the bodega. So I'm back. As I said, I've only seen the video of the kid jumping over the counter in the bodega. I just refuse to watch. I'm not gonna become desensitized to someone being murdered, slaughtered, as I've heard. You understand? And I saw XXX last week, and I know he's had a pretty extensive past. I know about the him and his girlfriend, beating of him and his girlfriend, and that's the extent of it. But I hear that it's more. But at the end of the day, man, these decisions that we're making, it's not great decisions. And you know how we can curve it is us being men in our community. Whether it's a 25-cent now later conversation, or whether it's a conversation convincing a kid going from high school to college, or whether it's a kid versus going to military or versus going to trade school, or having a baby, not having a baby. These things all add up. And because we lay silent, we walk by these people and these potential life-changing moments every day in our life. Someone is just reaching out for a conversation. You understand? And I think it's just important that we pay attention. Not everyone can see the signs. Now when you watch the news, oh, there were signs. We don't know the signs because quite possibly we don't know the person. But if we trust our spiritual well-being, our spiritual seventh sense, sixth sense, you understand? I believe that it will make a huge difference in our community, and we can curve that number. And I know it's because we're in capitalism. There's always going to be that thirst for monetary gains, that desire for it. I understand all of that, and I know the element of our entertainment in terms of our music. I see our music changing quite a bit, and people say it's some rappers, but the reason why is because now the forefathers of our rap industry are parents, and because they are in acknowledgement of their mortality, in acknowledgement of a better world for their children, they in turn has created quote unquote more civilized more civilized music. And this is just like a white flag video. I'm waving the white flag for all of us, man. You know, I tell you guys can go in any gym in America, pay the guy $50. You pay $25. You pay $25 and make the best man win, and it's over. But this death thing and putting our legacy and our lives and our last name in the hands of a system that wants us all to fail, you're not going to win. And the men that have 46 chromosomes, I hold you guys accountable. You understand? A guy steals some drugs from you, so you kill him. A guy punches or robs your best friend, so you kill him. A man wears red in a blue neighborhood, so you kill him. That's senseless. Senseless, man. And there's no space for that in our community, man. And I just want to reach out and touch somebody. Somebody. I think it's very, very important that we do this. And I think it's time. Use your social media platforms, If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, I suggest that you follow me now. I'm bold about helping my community, helping my brothers. Now, I used to be real silent about it, not because of fear, but just because that's the way I wanted to do things. But now I think it's essential and important that we brag different. I think it's essential and important that we change the narrative to us helping each other and defusing or blowing out the flame of black on black crime. We're the only ethnicity. We're the only people in America where there's such a thing. There's no white on white crime. There's no Mexican on Mexican, brown on brown crime. You understand? There's black on black crime. And I think that was important in the 80s and the 90s to protect the government from the crack epidemic. You know what I mean? So instead of placing the blame on the government and the politicians and all people involved, they created this term called black on black crime, and which in turn has definitely bustled into documentaries, segments on the news, segments in life. It's kind of shifted our paradigm and us not trusting one another. So, anyways, man, let's attempt to love on one another. First, let's love ourselves. When we learn to love ourselves and love our future, love your potential. Not often enough do we fall in love with our potential. We fall in love with the stresses of what we're going through today. And I know it's challenging. I've been homeless. I've been unemployed. I've been all of the above. And I didn't make perfect decisions, obviously. I've done non-perfect things in my life, but I never wanted to take someone's life. I've always, and most times I've always resorted to my fist. Whether I lost or whether I won, I've resorted to my fist. You understand? Self-defense is completely different in terms of someone breaking into your home, or you got your kids, you got your girl there, and that makes sense, right? Because you don't know what's coming in the door. But if you got a chance to squash something with your fist, do it. Take the L. If he beats you up, take the L. That's it. But what I hear, machetes and the thought of that, I'll never watch that video. If I do watch it, it'll be by accident. I don't want to see it. I don't want to become desensitized, because that XXX video, That shit went worldwide, and people were just watching a dead body, and you become desensitized to it. So the next time you see it, oh, it was just another black man dead. I don't want to ever get used to that visual. Never, ever do I want to get used to the visual. There was one time in my life, oh man, I was a kid. A kid meaning either middle school or early high school. I saw some people putting in a dead body in a trunk of a car in a plastic bag. And I was like, oh my, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why I was out. I don't know why I was out 12. It maybe wasn't 3 o'clock. Maybe it was like 11 or 12 o'clock. Maybe it was the summertime or something like that. And I was lying about where I was. And I was like, whoa, because there was two people carrying it. And I was like, whoa, that's a dead body. And I just went on with my day, I had to be in middle school. I had to be in about middle school. At least I thought it was a dead body because I saw two people carrying a black plastic bag. And I was like, whoa. And, let's love on one another. At the end of the day, let's love on one another. And I don't know if you guys can hear the helicopters. You hear the helicopters flying above me right now. You know what I mean? No one's immune to this, man. And this video is going to touch somebody. One person. And at least one person. Stand up and be a man about it. That Tony Braxton song. Why are you calling me on the phone? I used to love Tony Braxton's Sidebar. Anyways, man. Barbershop conversations, man. Or he wasn't man enough for me. That's what it was. So let's stand up and be a man. And let's love on one another, man. It's time. It's 2018. We got kids and grandkids and great-grandkids to love on, man. Let's do that, man. Let's be bold and brag about helping one another. Let's be bold and brag about post some pictures, post some videos of you buying 2 kids 2 Snickers. You just wanted to do it just because you thought it was cool. Who gives a fuck what people say? You shouldn't post it, man. What you want us to post? You want us to brag on that stuff that we buy with our money? You want us to brag about a white person's brand? You want us to brag about something that's not beneficial to us and or our community? That's cooler, right? So let's change the paradigm to cool. Anyways, man, barbershop conversations, man. Feel free to hit the subscribe button, and I'll talk to you guys real soon. Thanks, guys. Peace.